All right. So, for those of you who are anxious about the Trump administration, I am dropping another anxiety for you. And for those of you who think that Trump can do no wrong, well, maybe this might make you second guess your saint. So the article reads, Trump transition wants to scrap crash reporting requirement opposed by Tesla. So that sounds great. We certainly wouldn't want crashes to be reported, now would we? Nah. I mean, what could possibly be the point of that? Anyway, the Trump transition team wants the incoming administration to drop a car crash reporting requirement opposed by Elon Musk's Tesla, according to a document seen by Reuters, a move that could cripple the government's ability to investigate and regulate the safety of vehicles with automated driving systems. So, yay! Musk, the world's richest person, spent more than $250 million helping Trump get elected president in November. Removing the crash disclosure provision would particularly benefit Tesla, which has reported most of the crashes, more than 1,500, to federal safety regulators under the program. Tesla has been targeted in National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, investigations, including 3 stemming from the data. A Reuters analysis of the NHTSA crash data shows Tesla accounted for 40 out of 45 fatal crashes reported to NHTSA through October 15th. Among the Tesla crashes NHTSA investigated under the provision were a 2023 fatal accident in Virginia where a driver used the car's autopilot feature, slammed into a tractor trailer, and a California wreck the same year where an autopiloted Tesla hit a fire truck, killing the driver and injuring 4 firefighters. I'm pretty sure you pronounce it NHTSA. So NHTSA said in a statement that such data is crucial to evaluating the safety of emerging automated driving technologies. 2 former NHTSA employees said the crash reporting requirements were pivotal to agency investigations into Tesla's driver assistance features that led to 2023 recalls. Without the data, they said, NHTSA cannot easily detect crash patterns that highlight safety problems. And of course, we wouldn't want to highlight safety problems. I mean, obviously, the people like Elon, out of the goodness of his heart, would work on it or something. NHTSA said it has received and analyzed data on more than 2,700 crashes since the agency established the rule in 2021. The data has influenced 10 investigations into 6 companies, NHTSA said, as well as 9 safety recalls involving 4 different companies. In one example, NHTSA fined Cruise, the self-driving startup owned by General Motors, $1.5 million in September for failing to report a 2023 incident in which a vehicle hit and dragged a pedestrian who had been struck by another car. GM this week said Cruise will stop development of self-driving technology. NHTSA's so-called standing general order requires automakers to report crashes if advanced driver assistance or autonomous driving technologies were engaged within 30 seconds of impact, among other factors. In addition to ditching the reporting rule, the recommendations called for the administration to liberalize autonomous vehicle regulation and to enact basic regulations to enable development of the industry. In an October Tesla earnings call, Musk called for a federal approval process for autonomous vehicles rather than a patchwork of state laws he called incredibly painful to navigate. He said he would use his position as a government efficiency czar, a post Trump had promised him, to push for such regulatory changes. I will agree that it shouldn't be a patchwork from state to state. It should be a federal thing, which doesn't jibe with wanting to not report crash results, but okay. After the election, Trump named Musk to co-lead a newly created Department of Government Efficiency to advise from outside government on slashing federal staff spending and regulations. Tesla is among the most prominent automakers developing advanced driver assistance features, which can assist with lane changes, driving speed, and steering. Tesla's autopilot and full self-driving systems, which are not fully autonomous, have come under intense scrutiny in lawsuits and a DOJ criminal probe examining whether Tesla exaggerated its vehicle's self-driving capabilities, misleading investors and harming consumers. Tesla despises the crash notification requirement, believing that NHTSA presents the data in ways that mislead consumers about the automaker's safety. Two sources familiar with Tesla executives' thinking told Reuters. In recent years, Tesla executives discussed with Musk the need to push for scrapping the crash reporting requirement, according to one of the sources. But because Biden officials expressed enthusiasm for the program, Tesla executives ultimately concluded that they would need a change in administration to get rid of the requirements, according to the source. What I'd like to know is how did they phrase it? That it misleads investors and that it's misleading investor and harming consumers. How is revealing crash data doing that? Is what I'd like to know. Tesla finds the rules unfair because it believes it reports better data than other automakers, which makes it look like Tesla is responsible for an outsized number of crashes involving advanced driver assistance systems, one of the sources said. So they're upset not because they follow the rules, but because other automakers don't. Here's an idea. How about make sure everybody follows the rules? And then you don't have that problem. Either that, or Tesla just isn't as safe as these other car companies, but they just don't believe that it's possible. So they feel like the other car companies are hiding something. Either way, their remedy is stupid. NHTSA cautions that the data should not be used to compare one automaker's safety to another because different companies collect information on crashes in different ways. All right. Brian Walker Smith, a University of South Carolina law professor who focuses on autonomous driving, said Tesla collects real-time crash data that other companies don't and likely reports a far greater proportion of their incidents than other automakers. Tesla also likely has greater frequency of crashing involving driver-assisted technologies because it has more vehicles on the road equipped with them, and drivers engage the systems more often, Smith said. That means the vehicles may more often get into situations that aren't capable of handling. Which also makes sense. I mean, obviously, if there's more Teslas on the road, more Teslas are going to be involved in crashes. simply because percentages. So basically, people thinking that Teslas are less safe than other autonomous driving technologies is simply a matter of people not understanding probabilities. Now, I'm not a big, I don't know probabilities that well, but I do know that the more of a population there is of a thing, the more they're going to be, that you could pin something on the majority population simply because they're the majority. So, of course, there's a better chance that they're going to have a certain behavior or have something go wrong. So, that makes sense. But getting rid of it is not the answer. The answer is putting things in context, that yes, this is the proportion of crashes by Teslas, but this is how many Teslas are actually on the road. This is the percentage of Teslas on the road. So it suddenly becomes a small percentage, as opposed to these other vehicles that these other companies, because there aren't as many of them on the road, of course they're not going to be recording proportionally as many, actually numbers wise, as many crashes as Teslas, but proportionally they might be a bigger slice of the pie, simply because there's just less of them on the road. So I understand where this is coming from, but still, getting rid of that requirement is not helpful. Not helpful at all. There needs to be another way to do this. Like I said, if you're going to report on the percentage of crashes by, say, Teslas, you need to put that into context. You need to make sure that the consumer understands that, yes, this is how many crashes happen, but that's because this is how many Teslas are on the road, as opposed to just putting the numbers out and letting people freak out that Teslas are not very safe. And it's possible they're not very safe. But again, getting rid of this requirement is not going to make Teslas any safer. It's not going to make any other cars any safer. It's just going to put consumers in a position of playing Russian roulette. You know, if they just won't have the information they need to make a decision as to whether they're going to buy a Tesla, whether they're going to engage the autopilot, and it could end up going very, very badly. So, yeah. I understand why they're upset, but this is not the way to go about it. So anyway, that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.